I got to show you. So I was in Amsterdam last week,
Yeah.
and he asked me to come back with a tour, which I did. So I said this to James, and you think this week could pass through?
No way, man.
I'm kidding.
I know, I kind of like it.
For the workers' house, that's a good argument for you.
So,
They really made doors. So I asked James if he can get this to the village.
It's a beautiful door.
It's a beautiful door.
But
No, I was kidding around. I mean,
at which point James gasped out loud.
I ate at 2 restaurants that were each, the buildings were before 1620.
What city were you in?
Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam. Pretty cool.
Incredible. I mean,
Oh, not Amsterdam, New York.
not Amsterdam.
Okay.
The Amsterdam.
Did you see a lot of facades that are propped up by
A lot of leaning ones.
The historic preservation regulations require that they rebuild it exactly, and as a result, it's a very expensive process. So they don't do it until they absolutely positively have to.
now, which way are they propped up, from the front or the back?
Well, usually it's the front because basically they're sort of propping. Amsterdam is built in swamps.
On the swamp, yeah.
Yeah, and so they wind up having to. They usually drive poles down.
Poles, right.
That's found. Yeah, and.
Like in Venice. Venice is large.
Well,
The process of knocking down everything on either side.
It's the same issue. I mean, basically these wooden poles start rotting after a while, and then pretty soon, the facades start leaning. So
A lot of them were like prop, they're sandwiched in. If the other one goes, they're going. Yeah, I would want to fix those, but anyway.
Yep. Upper release.
He was just making copies and we're ready to go.
are we going to wait for James?
James is not coming tonight, just Mr. Sussman. Let me see where she is in there.
So did you visit the Heineken Brewery?
I did actually.
That's a must.
Actually, for 30 more euros, I took the VIP, okay, which I gotta tell you, it's the way to go if you ever do it, because it's only a couple people. They showed us the boardroom where these guys meet, and there's a bar in the boardroom.
But
I can
of course.
imagine these meetings. But kind of cool. It was kind of cool, I will say.
It's mother's milk, too.
Oh yeah, it's they don't have a problem drinking over there.
I think I have the orientation wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need to re-review this thing on Garden Street? That's just before
Right.
the zoning board?
We can, his C of A is going until the 9th, the 15th. Our meeting is on the
19.
19th.
So he's coming to the next meeting.
Yes.
Or for renewal.
Okay,
Staley,
let's get
Yeah,
started.
Costelli for renewal.
you would like to renewal, and it has some minor changes you'd like to discuss.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Come on down.
All right.
Well,
Well,
3 Furnace Street.
I think more copies than you can read, but James sent me out.
Gosh, I keep telling him he doesn't need to sign it.
They're kind of unwieldy too, but anyway. So I'm hoping that he made the changes that you asked him to do. Looked okay to me, but I'm not a professional. So,
You'll have to catch me up a little bit, maybe.
so. we asked for specifics on some things, the door,
For the, yeah.
right? So here's the specific door, the exact door.
Is this the same set that's over here?
Yeah, these are the ones that have our comments.
Oh, from last time.
Last gathered.
And it's made out of
Wood. This is for the
two-piece laminated wood stiles and rails.
It was in their wood section of wood products.
Seems to be that out. Find a good at home.
Well, I'm hoping it's wood.
70132 Nantucket. Yeah, I don't know what this inner bond is.
Yep.
Off the Nantucket, you just want to pass it.
No, I know, I'm looking to see if there's a
Material, yeah.
specifications. Instructions like two-piece laminated wood stiles and rails with modified mortise style.
But the panels are made of what? A 3/4 inch flat panel or 1 7/16 inner bond registered. What is inner bond?
It can be spec'd in fir, mahogany, or cypress.
Okay.
So it's
So it's wood.
wood.
Okay.
Okay. So it's wood laminate? Is that what I'm gonna?
Yeah.
It must be
I think it is.
because
right?
it must be because of the insulation. There must be some sort
It's
of
bonded
interior
to insulation.
insulation.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't have that.
Oh, wait.
What are the other things that you all?
I think he asked for the windows, specific windows. Before it was sort of an approximation, I think it was the exact windows.
And they are going to be
Triple glazed, what, the wood?
the image that you showed there as a ganged window. I don't know, I haven't seen the drawings yet. Could I look at somebody's version?
You want to look
Can I
at.
just look at just to get an overall sense?
Pretty sure the same one Shane's using in his house, the new building that he has.
Mhm. His office?
Yeah.
It's the same manufacturer, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I recommend it.
I mean, I told her, as long as it looks like regular windows, it's fine. I mean, I'll pay for the extra insulation if it makes sense.
So you're talking about a 4/4, and they're not ganged in the way that image represents, right? You're talking about single
There aren't any
sashes.
gangs. I don't think there's
What
any
does
gang
gang mean?
windows on
Those
the
two
building.
sashes, sets of sashes together.
Side by
This-
side.
Yeah.
You're gained side by side.
Oh,
But
no,
I
no,
don't think there's any
no.
actual ganged building windows
No.
on the plan.
No.
That was just a photo for
Mhm.
style.
Yeah, so that's the window that we're considering.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
gained example.
Is there a page after this one?
There are plenty of pages.
Is there
about a
new
zillion pages.
information after this one?
All right, well, let's see.
You want
Well, so
that?
more information, other things that you asked for, like more on the list or something, or?
All right, well,
Here's
I've
the
got
lights.
I've
Here's
got
the
a
lights.
walkout set here. Why don't we go through the walkout?
Yeah, no, I just didn't know if there's any more information on the page after that one regarding the windows.
Oh, okay. I don't,
No, that's just into the plan. Okay.
Okay. So, rear porch visibility study, the update the front, there is a detail on T101.
you want one?
So the front was supposed to be updated based on what, you know, where the brackets were going to be and the column is.
I think
So
I see that.
so that was updated.
So can
Check.
someone point to me what your, I just can't see very
So
well,
you're-
rather than opening another set.
Just
Okay.
in the previous set of drawings, this had not been updated to reflect changes from the previous set of drawings. So this is now reflective of the detailing on the porch. The purpose of this is just to show visibility to the back.
And what was the question about the porch in the back?
That is basically not terribly visible. from
It's
the
not
front.
terribly
There's only-
visible.
There's
There-
a sliver that's visible.
They're going to be adding what is the roof of an existing roof. They're going to be adding a railing to the top of it to make it a second level access.
And is
Um,
this getting raised, this portion?
No.
No, or that's as it is.
Yeah, the only issue is that the capital ionic capital.
So,
Well, but it's not shown there.
No, it's actually shown as a square
yeah.
top with a molding.
They actually redid it because you asked for simple,
Mm-hmm.
column. So we try to make it simple. On a wood, on a square column.
And do we have any, sorry, there are probably conversations that you've had already, so I'm sorry if I'm asking questions again. Do we have any, is there any visual evidence that a column like that existed on the structure?
No.
No.
Clarification as far as the bracket goes, and that's there. Detail 3.
Yeah, and the bracket has been simplified compared to the bracket that we saw the first time.
I also got rid of the heart. You took the heart away.
You took the heart away from the shutters?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought it was cute. I got a lot of negative on it. So. Well, it's like, people just spit it out.
It was a little Pennsylvania.
We have a
touch,
reputation for being heartless.
All right.
Oh,
Good one.
Hey, what'd you say?
I said we have a reputation for being heartless.
Heartless, there you go. You ripped it right away. And then the brackets for it, I think, are on this one.
No, the bracket's right there. The
Oh.
bracket.
The brackets for the shutters.
Oh, but you want to know, I
Previous
think
page, hardware.
this hardware, you want to see
Oh, the hardware.
specifics.
That's for on the door, yeah.
For on the shutters.
The shutters.
And
Shutter
what is the stained glass?
This is irrelevant because this is something
It's on the
that's
This is actually on the interior. This is,
fixed to the inside of a just a
it's
single.
it's recessed back from a single pane glass window.
So it's hanging inside.
Yeah,
Hanging inside.
essentially, yeah. It's like a.
Not unlike a neon beer sign.
So I'll tell you, it's
I have
in
one in
the
my house.
Not a
late
neon.
1700s.
Beer sign,
Pennsylvania.
yes, not a
It's
neon
Shakespeare's
beer
motto,
sign.
"Ne sont droit,"
Beer
which
sign.
really told the
Very
British you don't have a right to put it like that. So I thought it was sort of appropriate.
So what does that say?
Non sont droit.
Yeah.
So without, you don't have a right. It's Shakespeare's family motto. It's from the late 1700s. It was,
Where'd you get this?
I got it on eBay from the state in the main line.
How cool.
And now it sits in a foundry workers.
Well, now it's in the basement gathering dust, so hopefully you're allowing me to bring it to life.
But what's the
We don't
decorative
have-
element that you could move?
yeah,
in?
we don't have,
I mean, it's
any
not a-
authority over
it's not a-
that.
It's not a permanently fixed.
But you'd be able to see it from the outside, I'm hoping, through the window.
Yeah.
As long as it's not illuminated, like a neon sign, we can't say anything about it.
And
If
it's
you
not-
were cutting down a neon
If you
sign.
hang a
It's
beer
not a
sign in
commercial-
her window, then we have
Yeah,
A problem.
If you have a commercial, if you have a promotional sign, a commercial sign.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking for guests like that one.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
that's the light fixture?
Yes.
All right, let's
Would
go
you
to
go next to the door?
T301.
I think they
So,
actually.
so were the issues raised by the board in the last section addressed on the drawings that you were just looking at?
It
Yeah.
seems like it is,
Except for the capital.
except for this capital, but I think.
I
since
think we
have
can
a
make a
detailed
note
drawing
on
of it,
that.
We can just cross it off and note that it's that capital.
See something. Okay, 301. Okay, was the back porch updated as far as the guardrail? Okay, and I thought I saw a detail of that up front.
There is on the previous page with the column. Sorry, on the previous page that we were looking at, on the top of this page.
That's the front porch.
It's
Is the back porch the same?
supposed to be the same on both.
But the back porch is really not visible.
Right.
We need to decide that in the last
Well, except,
meeting.
yeah.
So it's 1 3/4 balusters with 2 1/4 spacing. Square.
Which is the front porch.
Which is the front porch.
Okay. But I guess the question really is that, well, the back porch is shown the same
Yeah, but where can you see the back porch from?
from the
Driveway,
study.
you see a corner.
Yeah, from the.
From the study, you can see like this much of a sliver of it.
Okay.
But
You can
it's
really
it'll be
tell.
the same.
It'll be the
It'll
same.
be the same.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it
it
just
just needs to clarify.
Our
and
request
that
was
is-
that this be redrawn to match what is going in, and they said what was going in would match the front porch.
Right.
So they've redrawn
Okay, so, and that shows the spacing of the brackets that we want, shows the ionic columns. The hearts go away. Shows detail
Shell
of
hearts.
column, and do we have a detail of the column?
Yeah.
The column is now square.
Column is square.
It's square.
Oh, it's square now.
Yeah.
But it's not chamfered.
Simple.
Is it chamfered or not?
It's chamfered. It just-
Chamfered is it with that little strip taken off the corners of the
Yeah,
square
just-
column?
Otherwise, they'll split, and you'll get splinters, you get little pieces.
So it should have a little, yeah, okay, so.
It's like a, sort of like a, just a groove out of the corners.
Yeah,
It
it had a
softens the
box.
corners.
Okay.
You cut the corners off.
Okay.
Do we, are there existing conditions photographs that I could look at in the folder?
The drawings of the existing conditions.
There's a photo.
There's a photo on the first page which is, that you wouldn't want to see those columns again.
No, I know what's there now. I wanted to see what was approved on the other side.
Wait, you mean it came with it?
On the other half of the structure.
This square.
Oh, he has the octagonal.
They're square.
Yeah, he's got two beds.
Does he have octagonal?
Yeah. They're salvaged.
Really?
They're salvaged from a similar structure.
Oh.
But they're, of course, they're square up to the
Really?
top of the railing.
They're from Nelsonville, I think.
They're square to the top of the railing and then they go octagonal above that.
No, they're octagonal from the base to the capitol. It's hard to see it in this photograph, but they're,
No, I believe it.
but they have that sort of flare at the top and then the brackets beyond.
Exactly.
So how
Canopy.
do the brackets
Yeah.
that are being proposed, sorry, here, jive with these?
They're the same.
These match these?
No.
No.
They're different brackets, but they're consistent throughout the entire building.
They're consistent on the front and the side of
So-
this side of the two-family house, and on James's side, they're slightly different.
They're more downward
The roof, by the
projecting.
way, I don't know if you were here for that, so.
Do we have,
to match his-
do we have a detail of the brackets here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Right, there. Okay.
What else?
Okay.
Those were the notes that I had, and then just the dimensions of the railing, which are shown here.
Can I see the column detail again?
Okay, so on A301. Finish going through that sheet. So the back rail has been updated.
It's getting swallowed by the drawings.
I keep pulling more out. Collier Brothers.
Okay. So the back rail is updated, the parts are taken away. The brackets are the way that it is intended, right? And the columns show detail of columns and guardrail, which we have. All right. 302, let's go to the next sheet. Okay, so the details of the guardrail in the back. That's the only comment that we see. And the brackets are consistent with what were on the front because there are 2, 1, 2 in.
Just so I'm clear in the minutes, we originally proposed brackets on the front and the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Now
No,
they're.
we didn't propose it.
You being the
Actually, originally on the top part as well.
Right. So on the front of your house,
Yeah.
you originally proposed brackets.
At the roof line, but not at the.
At the roof line.
Not at the top of the front porch roof.
And the shift.
The top of the front
So-
porch roof still has
I just wanna make
brackets,
sure I'm
but not
correct.
not at the roof line up here in the front, only
Down here.
here.
Right.
Oh, are those remaining?
Yeah, these stay here around the porch. but
Around the-
there used to be ones across the front
Right,
up here.
and now they're gone,
They're
right?
gone.
Okay.
But they're on the side here.
Okay. So they remain on the facade of the.
Yeah.
Like the,
Sorry, but I asked.
south side of the gut
Okay.
structure.
Those are the comments that had been raised before. We have no more comments, so, does anybody have any questions concerning the drawings as they're shown now?
Do you have any questions, since you were not here for either of the meetings?
I don't have questions. My comment is that, I can see looking at the first set of drawings and the second set of drawings that an effort has been made to simplify, recognizing this is a simple worker's cottage. For me, the bracket detailing on the side is not in character with the structure. It's a bit too fancy for the structure. And yeah, I'm contemplating the columns. The reason that I asked to look at the photograph on the front is that there was evidence that the reason the other half of the property went in that direction, I think you were here then, was that there
No,
was
I wasn't.
there was one column that remained, there were brackets that remained, and he was able to get salvaged columns, and because there was evidence that those brackets had been there, we, at the time, recognized that this little simple structure at some point had been fancied up a bit. So I was initially quite surprised with the ionic capitals. I still think they're a bit refined and rich for this structure, and they don't read like an update you would have expected in a later period of the house. It sort of look like they look applied to me. So if it would be my recommendation in keeping with the character of the house to further simplify the design.
Well,
But I may be in the minority on that.
yeah, I looked around at many houses of the same vintage in the village and how they were updated, and there are at least 2 or 3 houses on Fair Street that have a similar pattern of brackets on the front and the side eaves of their, that are quite a bit fancier than what is proposed here. And I think that if you have a house that was built in the 1840s and then you wanted to make it look, because obviously this house has been added onto in the back. You know, this is not the original house. This is a succession of buildings. If you wanted to add it on and make it a little bit fancier, I can see where somebody would have added brackets in those locations, and I think I don't have a problem with that. I don't have trouble with that at all. I understand your comment about the ionic capitals, and I have to say that I understand your point, but I think in terms of whimsy, and there's always that one quirky resident who will do something a little strange. Not you I'm talking about, you know.
Oh no, I'm
You don't
talking
know-
about
you don't know-
I'm just gonna sit here quietly.
Well,
I know you
but
did.
this, but
You know
this proves
there's
the
going
point
to
though,
be-
because there
No,
could have
you've
been
got-
somebody
I'm
who.
not finished. You know, there's always going to be that one quirky resident who's going to, you know, put on the dog, you know? And so the idea of somebody putting on a simple ionic capital, I think, is a possibility, even though it may not have happened in the village. And I kind of like the idea of going back in time and trying to read some former resident's mind about what they might have done.
Well, I think from my perspective, that's exactly what we're not supposed to do.
Yes,
You know,
I know.
if we have
No, I'm
physical
quite-
evidence,
no, I'm quite aware of that.
which in the case of of the other half of the structure's modification, there was visual evidence. There isn't visual evidence, and in my view,
Well,
we're sort of making things up.
Well, then we're going towards strict restoration, number one, and number two,
I'm not suggesting strict restoration. I'm saying I would go super simple, because there is no the visual evidence we have is on the other half of the house. It's quite different than ionic capitals and brackets all along.
yeah, but the other half, unless you want to replicate the other half of the house, which I think would be wrong, since if you go down that street and you go down Kemble, you don't have matching sides of these semi-detached houses.
That's correct.
So I think that they don't have to be matching.
I'm not suggesting they do have to be matching. What I'm saying is, I'm wondering if there is something in between where we are right now and what we know.
I think you could put on a square capital and then paint some sort of ionic design on it, almost like a stencil. You know, if you wanted to be that whimsical. You know, I can see where there's a compromise here, but I don't see that not allowing the brackets or making the brackets super simple for some reason.
What I was thinking, sorry, I'll just finish this out. What I was thinking was not take the brackets away completely. What I was imagining was maybe not side brackets. I'm totally fine with brackets across the front because we know that we have historical evidence that they were there. I'm not totally convinced on the capital one way or the other. Those are just comments that I'm making.
I think that even though James may have had a column that matches what he had there, you have no way of knowing if that's the original or if that was
Altered
added.
trim.
Especially
at some
since
point in-
especially since these buildings apparently did not have porches originally, according to James.
And because I do remember when he came before us, and I thought that it was, you know, the column and the brackets on the column that he had seemed to be a little bit decorative, more decorative than I would have selected for a house like this.
Well, there's no question that the brackets there was a later addition. No
Okay.
question.
So, and the thing is that what they're proposing here, which, you know, is a square column, and I wouldn't do that, but you know, it's acceptable. I think is a simpler appearance than what James has on his. I think that's a simpler look.
Okay,
It's not
so
nearly as
we talk
fancy.
about the potential removal, how the permanence of, you know, filigree on a building. I think that there might be an argument for the fact that brackets are not structural, they are
Well, these
ornamental.
Right, we know these are.
These aren't. They're structural.
No,
No,
I'm saying
no, they're
these
decorative.
brackets
They're
are
holding
only
weight?
decorative.
No,
they're
no,
not.
we're saying they're not.
Sometimes brackets are. In this case, they are clearly not.
I see houses all
You
over.
know, when you
well,
talk
actually-
about things
actually-
that are removable,
I-
do these brackets qualify for?
Well, but it's a question of
Well-
how that removable object impacts character.
Well,
Again, I'm just
let's
exploring that avenue.
Let's talk about the bracket.
Columns, support weight, brackets. Is it possible that they
Well, let's talk about the brackets, because
decorative?
you're talking about the roof continuing over, well, it's got rafter tails.
I agree with Kathleen's summary. I'm just wondering if we're creating a future hazard by not recognizing that brackets can be removed, if they can be removed. They're not like a permanent fixture.
Well,
Is that crazy?
certainly on the, no, it isn't, on the
Oh.
side, because, you know, if you take a look at this detail, you see, you have a rafter tail which projects. and
'Cause all
basic-
these-
Let me
Sorry,
just
sorry.
go finish going. You see that the rafter tail continues past the edge of the wall,
Mhm.
and the bracket basically fills in the soffit that is attached.
Mhm.
That may be true on the front porch, but on the side, the roofing rafters run front to back. And so therefore, the part that cantilevers over, and we're talking about, I'd say, 9-inch cantilever, really has nothing to support it except for the brackets.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think that on the side of the building, actually, it is structural.
I mean, I just don't want another
There aren't brackets
applicant.
there now.
Huh?
There aren't brackets there now.
I know, well, and there are a lot of things which are.
Oh, on the house now?
There are
Well,
no
it's rotted
brackets
away.
inside.
There's not even any fascia board there. It's
Right.
mice and birds living there. So hard to say what was made.
I mean, you know, typically, even if you have a fascia board with a 9-inch cantilever, and I don't know if you have 9 inches on the side, but there's usually molding and stuff like that is built up so that you're, in fact, you don't have that much of a free cantilever.
So Al, what you're saying is because the cantilever is so deep, the brackets are becoming structural.
Right. They're
So
not
if-
decorative.
They were, so if the overhang was reduced, the necessity of the brackets would be decreased.
Yeah, and typically, if you look at it, you know, when you have a fascia board like that, usually there were additional moldings which built up and basically
Yeah.
provided some support for the overhang.
Probably it was probably an entablature. Okay, so we have a long night ahead of us.
Yes. This is only the first one.
All right, any other comment or question?
Just that, can we make sure that when the drawings are finalized, it's noted that the windows can be either, what did we say?
Okay.
Either 2/2 or 4/4. It's the choice of the applicant.
Yeah, 4/4.
Okay.
Okay. Sharon,
So the next step would be
the
a
vote.
vote.
All right,
Didn't we do the secret determination last time?
I think we did.
Hello?
We did. We said it was type 2.
I think we did. Just want to be 100% sure.
I would never prevent you
Sorry.
from using this.
Sorry, everyone. Jeez. Yes, we did a secret determination.
And it was type 2.
I can say that.
Okay, do I have a motion on this application? I mean, there are a couple of minor things which, does anybody have any problem with this? I mean, the capital is wrong, but the correct capital is clearly shown on the later sheet.
So refer to the later sheet. Mark it and refer to the later sheet.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't think it needs to be resubmitted.
We don't need to create any more of these giant pieces of.
Do you want all these copies?
Well,
can't
we
fit them in
need,
the file is the problem.
we need at
Because
least
we
three.
need 3 of them.
Okay.
Okay, and maybe 4, one.
Well, you give them to us, we'll unroll them and fold them.
Oh, fair enough. Dead Sea Scrolls.
Exactly.
It's the dead tree.
Somehow less
scroll.
charming.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you've got one set right there, so I'll give one back.
Oh.
I thought you said we need 4.
3, us, building inspector, file.
Well, then also, because I'm gonna pick the 3 to work on, you usually keep one.
One for here. So you want 4 total.
They're going cheap.
One more. Yes, so just-
So, just so I'm clear, the capitals.
Is not, this is not the correct capital.
It's just saying
That's
to
correct.
refer to the capital
Okay.
on this page. So that drawing is used as a.
Take this back to James.
No.
Al will process the application and issue a certificate after the vote, and that gets given to James.
Oh.
Okay, anything else here? I'm really curious about this laminated door. What the hell is that? 2-piece laminated.
I looked it up on the Simpson website and it says that it's a wood door.
Yeah, when I looked it
I
up,
don't
it
know
says
whether
it comes
it's
in
a
different
solid
woods.
wood door
I don't
because
think
I
it
think
is.
it's insulated,
Yeah.
but the exterior surface is wood.
It seems like it's laminated against insulation.
Something.
Yeah.
It's not wood, I'm not putting it in anyway.
It's not solid wood.
It's not wood. Not a cheap door, so.
Well, insulation's expensive.
And you're nothing fancy
Okay,
about
does
insulation.
anybody-
I know.
He likes his insulation.
And so this is the other main elevation, and I don't see any changes. Okay, new non-combustible fascia and soffit at property line. What does that mean?
We talked about that last time and it's outside of the public view. Is this the property line facing James's?
Well, but this is,
Let's see.
Yes, this is the front of
Yeah.
the structure.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the structure seen from the south.
okay, all right. So in other words, it's probably fire-treated wood.
That would make
Can't
sense.
see it.
Probably.
And this facade, that's where the stained glass window goes.
Hang hanging
We
inside.
talked about the cooling unit too, at the last meeting.
From the street that's behind us. setback.
Correct.
Yep,
setback.
yep.
Okay. So, we've got, the application as modified with one note on the front sheet. Do I have a motion
So
to
moved.
approve the, do I have a second?
To approve as modified. And Sean seconded?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
And alas, I do appreciate the effort that was made. I'm glad that you're, I think I'll pass. I have real concerns about the brackets along the side.
Appreciate you speaking on it. I'm happy to.
And it's,
Appreciate you.
everything
So
that's
it's
there will be a
four
vast
aye, one
improvement.
nay.
Hopefully that is
Well, we're hoping to have a
Four
block party
ayes,
in October.
one nay. Al, how did you vote?
Aye. I voted yes.
It's 4-0.
No, it's 4-1.
4-1.
I mean 4-1, sorry.
Okay, so do we have 4 copies of this?
Yes, you do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Really, thanks so much.
Take care.
I learned a lot.
Good luck for the work.
That's it.
You sure you don't want that door from Amsterdam?
I love that door. I didn't even want to bring it up.
No new ideas.
All right.
Put it on the
See ya.
back, we won't see it.
Yeah, put it on your back porch. No, one will see that.
All right, we're 15 minutes behind. Just saying. I'm lettering.
Okay.
Hi.
I recuse myself from this application.
Okay. Bye.
My wife, this is my contractor, Stephen O'Connor.
Hi.
Hello.
There you go.
Good for you.
Al.
I'm Andrea. Nice to meet you.
Hello,
Andrea. Steven.
Hello.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess last time we met, there was concern of decreasing the glass area with this window Anderson 400 series insert. So if you look at these pictures, we actually had it here, I guess, inside one and also picture outside one. It's probably a good example of the window in its place, and it ends up being a 7/8 decrease in glass area. Look at the outside number one picture. So,
78 degrees.
yeah, a decrease in glass area, sorry.
So the width of the window about 3/8.
Again, remind you that these windows are averaging 3 feet wide by 6 feet tall. They're very large windows, they get photographs.
Here.
Remind yourself.
Very big.
One is 3'6" by 6'6".
Big ones on the first floor, 3'6" by 6'6".
width of the existing sash as opposed to the new sash.
Turn that around, Rich. Here's a perfect demonstration. You see that red line? That's on there? That red line is the existing sash measured from the existing jamb.
Okay.
And that this is the new dimension measured from the existing jamb.
So from here to here,
Yeah.
it's being reduced.
It's being reduced by, from the red line to the edge of this new sash.
Oh, from here to
Yep, that's your
here, not
reduction
here to
on
here.
both sides.
Gotcha, okay.
The reduction is about 2%.
Yep.
And what about on the bottom of the sash and the top of the sash? Is it the same reduction?
It is slightly larger on the bottom by about 1/4 of an inch and the same at the top, same across the top.
So it's 7/8 at the top, and at the bottom
About an
it's
inch and an
7/8
eighth.
plus 3/4
Yeah.
reduction.
It's the width of this piece of wood right here, actually, that you lose on the bottom.
I'm sorry, could you read, Pete, I'm writing the minutes, or helping write the minutes. Bottom to top,
Bottom to top, you lose 1 1/8 inches at the bottom, which is this height right here,
okay,
the new stool. And then the same 7/8 across the top that you would lose on the sides.
okay.
The same
So you
dimension.
lose height,
Yes.
okay, vertically, okay. 7/8, 7/8 all the way, okay. That makes a
So,
lot more
so
sense.
actually, the only wood part is this and the sash itself. Otherwise, it's a vinyl window.
It's a clad window for,
It's not clad, that's vinyl window. This is wood and the sash is wood.
the
This is-
liners are vinyl.
The frame, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. The frame is vinyl.
Just for clarity, this entire unit, it comes like this from the factory.
Right.
This is installed in the building. So the sash is actually a wood, I'm sorry, the jamb is a wood jamb. These are the vinyl
You
liners.
remove the parting stop and that's installed.
Correct,
where-
against the exterior stop. That allows these to be a tilt wash, and it also gives you nice thermal break in the window frame itself.
Is he in the, well, I've got, I guess the question is, yeah, is it national or?
It's national. She already has it on the agenda. It's national.
Yes, yeah.
Exterior vinyl clad wood.
But it's not, the only part that's wood is the sash and this part of the frame. Otherwise, everything else is vinyl. And our concern when we wrote this is that vinyl is not as durable and doesn't hold up well. I'll tell you my concern is that you're talking about a building that was designed and built by a local architect who has a church named after. I mean, we're talking about a building that I think truly has some historic significance, and the windows are a character-defining feature of this. So I think that it bothers me that we're replacing the wood windows with this. It just. I mean, if it was a fully clad wood window, then point to this and say that, but I don't see this as being a wood-clad window.
If we were to buy a brand new Anderson window, just like this, a 200 series or 400 series with a nailing flange, and we were to take out the existing window, which would be incredibly expensive and also incredibly destructive to the building. The interior of the window is going to look just like this with a nailing flange.
So we're not concerned about the interior.
Well, I'm saying the interior construction of the window is going to be identical to this, with a nailing flange down the side.
All right. You have a catalog for it. Right. Can I take a look at it?
What do these W's represent? That these are,
Yeah, you wanted to know where the wood windows were, the original, and this four of them.
so it's just those four?
Yeah.
And then everything else has been since replaced with
Yeah, with,
all manner of,
this is kind of a photograph of the jam at the end, and then, like this. It's just aluminum track that there, which is like too energy efficient.
so this green, this is just exterior trim?
That's the,
Sash, the actual
It's a sash.
sashes. Right now, if you look at the building, you'll see a horrible aluminum storm window system.
Mm-hmm.
And that green color was the sash color, the original window color. I shouldn't say original. In the 70s, that was the color before they put the storm windows on. That was the last time they were painted. That aluminum track you see is a replacement system from the late 60s, early 70s.
So this is wood or this is metal?
Wood.
So this is wood from the 70s that they added to this metal track system when they put the metal windows in?
There were actual new sashes in from 1969, 1972 in that neighborhood, single pane glass.
Oh, okay. So
And
there's
they-
single pane wooden sashes that were put in.
And that aluminum balance system you see there replaced window weights and pulleys.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were,
That's it.
Gotcha. Okay.
there's
I
an
see.
enormous weight gap or a weight
Right.
box on the
Yeah.
either side of these windows.
So are these even the original size of the windows? The ones that are there?
The window frame is original to the building, but the sashes were new late 60s, early 70s.
When they introduced the weights.
Except
They
for
got rid of the
these.
weights
They
and they
got-
Oh,
put
I'm sorry,
in
they got, I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
I meant, yeah,
They
they got
put in
rid of the
aluminum-
weights.
Got it, got it.
aluminum balance.
Gotcha.
Is this the front porch or the back porch?
Front.
that's the front.
Okay. So this is facing town.
Yes.
Yep.
That's facing east.
Facing the garage, east.
Now you have A's and B's and D's and E's and F's.
They all vary in size.
Okay, so there are a whole bunch of different sizes.
Yeah.
So how does that work with the system that you're proposing?
It works.
They're ordered
Because you're talking about replacing all the windows in the entire house, right?
every window in the house.
Right.
Trying to make this place as efficient as possible to operate.
Okay, so does this difference in size in this system
No, the
pertain
exterior,
to
I think
every
you,
single window, or does it just does this just occur some places, or?
all of the windows will have this dimension on the vertical,
Yeah.
this on the horizontal at the base. We don't have a top, but the top is similar to this.
But are the sashes custom sized, or are they?
The entire unit is custom sized.
Okay, got it.
They can be ordered by 1/8" increments.
Okay, fine. Got it. So that differential would occur in every single window?
And
Yes.
it would be the same in every window.
Yeah, so it would be 7/8 inches.
7/8 on each side.
And one
For every
and an
single
eighth on the
window.
back.
I don't have a huge problem with that, frankly, but.
How does this compare to other vinyl clad windows? If this is not a vinyl clad window?
The advantage to this window.
No, how does it compare in construction, not in terms of advantage, but,
To a solid vinyl window?
well, not to a solid vinyl, but to other vinyl clad wood windows? I mean, what's the difference between this vinyl clad wood window to other vinyl clad wood windows?
Different brands.
Well, yeah, I know that.
The construction is going to be very similar.
Yeah, if you look at even if you look at the details in the Anderson catalog, and for this particular model, they go with that vinyl section, but other of the casements and the gliders, they're all all of the components are wood.
They're structurally different and they operate differently.
I agree, but
If-
there are wood-clad windows which are solid wood as opposed to having that vinyl component.
The
Because
vinyl-
essentially the vinyl component is the track.
It is. It's the balance system. It gives the friction that keeps the window in place. It also lets you swing in that 3'6" by 3'6" window to clean up on the second floor, and it gives you a really good thermal break between the jamb and the window. That
Well,
gives
It's
some
the
of the
same, it's the same as wood. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
wood-
but that's true, but clearly the sash and the sill are vinyl clad wood. The only thing that isn't vinyl clad is this whole system here. And I can't imagine you making a section like this in wood,
Right.
unless you.
Unless it's raw wood.
Unless it's raw wood and
Yeah.
you're actually fabricating each window individually. I mean, it's, if you're buying a system, I don't see how you're gonna get around that.
Well,
You know, I'd
yeah.
I'd like to see any other manufacturer that does it differently, really. Because I don't think they do. I think they all do this sort of thing.
I don't think so.
Well, who doesn't?
Well,
Tell me.
take a look at, I mean, it's a different type of window, but I remember when Anderson first came out with vinyl clad. It was an all wood window. The only thing, instead of painting it, was clad with vinyl.
Well, so does Anderson make anything else in a double hung sash that does that?
This is, as far as I know, no, this is their replacement line. This is an insert window, as opposed to ripping the entire window out, reframing the opening, redoing the trim, redoing the siding, and putting in a whole brand new window. And in a double hung, it will ultimately resemble this window right here.
I mean, you can take a look at the details that they vary.
How would the construction be different if it was aluminum clad
Oh,
window?
these are insert
Well,
windows. This is the 400. What is the series?
The 400.
Oh, this is the 400.
As far as all of these channels and ridges and everything that are required for the operation, would those be in an aluminum clad window? Would those be aluminum, or would they be wood?
Well, isn't tilt and turn available in the all wood window?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't know.
I mean, could
I
be.
just don't know. I just don't know.
I guess what I'm wondering is is the concern.
My concern is that this is a McKeel building, the iconic building in the village.
No, I
And
appreciate
it's in
that.
a prominent location, and it's a much beloved building because of its history. First is the doctor's office, and then there's the Montessori school, et cetera. You know, it has there's an attachment in the village to it.
My question though, Al, was that if it were to be either an aluminum clad window or if it were to be an all wood window, would we still be dealing with the situation in any modern replacement window that's not being made by hand, where everything in this channel between the screen and the sash is comprised
This
of...
is
It's
fabricated
all
to
the-
size.
Yes.
They don't have, at least in these sizes, sitting around in the warehouse. He puts the order in, goes to the factory, and they cut and fabricate the windows to the size that he sent.
And you're
Right.
talking about 1/8 of an inch increments to custom make it.
If I have a window that's slightly askew like this, I can get it made so that it fits in there perfectly level and plumb.
Mhm.
That's
No,
the purpose.
I understand your concern, Al, but, I'm just wondering, is there really an alternative that's better other than just going all wood or aluminum clad wood or?
Well, what's wrong with all wood?
There's
I
nothing
guess-
wrong with all wood.
But
I
my
mean-
concern is that even if it were to be all wood, the thing on this, which is vinyl, that you have an objection to, other than the cladding, but the mechanism in the depth of the window would still exist if it were an all wood window, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Wouldn't it have all man-made?
If it were up to me,
components?
my first option would be what he was talking about. And I think that if you look at these windows, you know, the issue becomes, can they be overhauled?
Right, but that's a different issue. That has to do with maintaining the exact existing daylight that they currently have. But that's not a material question.
No,
That's
it's not the daylight, it's the visual appearance from the outside. I don't think it's the daylight, I think, you know, I mean, we're not
right, but
concerned
I
about
think that
whether
the
you're getting
issue,
enough light in your
but the
eyes.
conversation around this window, there's two different elements of it. One is the construction of the window, which reduces the overall opening and changes the original appearance. The other is the
That's an
materials
insert.
that the window is made out of.
Right. It's you know, this is obviously an insert, and any insert, no matter what it's made of, will in fact reduce the glass area.
Right. I'm more concerned about being an insert than I am concerned about it being a vinyl clad window.
Oh, I disagree with you.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're more concerned
Because
with
you're equally
the
concerned about both, or because you do?
No.
dimensions of the
because-
window?
I'm more concerned
Troubled
about
by
it
the
being
dimensions?
an insert window and it shrinking down in size.
Really? Okay.
Than the actual window itself being vinyl clad as opposed to aluminum clad. Which is something that we would, I think, more readily accept. If it's wood that you're after, then that's a kind of a different conversation.
You know, I have to say that in the best of all possible worlds, I would like to see an all-wood window. Obviously, our design standards do allow a vinyl clad window. I think the issue is the insert nature of it and the components of this track system that it goes into. I think that the sash and the sill are not the issue. I think it's that jazz around it.
But I think that the jazz around it would happen in any new window.
Any new window or any insert window?
Any new window.
Can
Any new window.
Can
will
I
have that
speak
jazz
to you
in
guys
it.
to that?
Please.
if
I
I
have
could just
insert
about-
windows in my
Please
house.
do, please do.
In order to maintain this exact dimension, in other words, the red line with my sash, glass from here to another red line on the other side of the window. In order to do that, I have to take the existing window out completely, including the trim around the window, and presumably the siding would not be damaged in the process. That's going to be a chore right there. Because we're going to keep the existing siding in this house eventually, take off that horrible vinyl that's on there.
And you don't know the condition of the siding underneath
We've
it?
done some exploratory
Seems to be okay.
removals. It's just needs love. Now I have to reframe the opening because I've got a 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 inch. Here, take into these for everybody. There's a weight pocket around these windows
Right.
where the old weights used to ride.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
everybody's
now I
got
have to
it.
reframe that opening to make it smaller, to make the opening smaller, because my opening right now is 5 inches bigger than this window or a new window would require. Then I have to extend the sheathing, the 3/4 inch sheathing. I'd have to cut back to the existing stud, expose half of that stud, put a strip of sheathing all the way around, and then put on a new window. And my new trim would have to be narrower
Your trim would have to be narrower?
because the window's going to be wider. Right now, my window jamb is 1 inch wide to give you this same look right here. So in order to have a balanced system, nobody makes a window without a balance. I have to
Yeah.
have some friction to keep these heavy sashes from
Right.
slamming up and down.
Yeah.
So I'm either gonna end up with a balance like this, or go back to weight and pulleys, which is a little crazy. I don't think anybody makes those. But I'm gonna have some sort of a balance system alongside these sashes. Right now, there's no balance in these windows. When I say balance, this system here that keeps the window, the friction
Yeah, I know what that is,
component.
yeah.
There has to be something in there to keep the window from falling. Right
Yeah.
now, it's just plain wood.
Right.
In the newer windows, the 70s, 69, 70s windows, there's an aluminum balance with a spring hidden
Mm-hmm.
in the stops.
Mm-hmm.
And those are a 1/16 of an inch thick. This is the next alternative. This is the modern alternative for that. So in order to keep that sash out here, I have the same size sash, and I need this about 3/4 of an inch gap.
What kind of warranty is on that balance?
On this balance, these have what, 20 years, lifetime?
I mean, because it is a friction system that
Glides. It's a vinyl on vinyl.
yeah, right. So I'm just wondering, you know, in terms of the material wear and tear and just the strength of materials that, you know, kind of weaken over time, just like the metal can weaken over time. You know,
If you have
you know,
wood
vinyl
against
is-
wood with no paint, they last 150 years.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, you know, vinyl against vinyl, how long does that last?
They make hip sockets out of it.
No, they make it out of silicone, but that, you know, that's not
Similar
exactly-
concept. It's a.
We don't know
similar-
if hip sockets last for 150 years.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, mine does.
We've yet to be,
You hope.
that's yet to be
We'll
put to the
see. That'll be the
test.
I don't think anybody's worried about this. I'm sure Anderson has set up a machine that took this window up and down, up and down,
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and
yeah,
down,
I know,
several
yeah,
100,000 times.
Yeah, and they always say that.
We're reasonable.
Okay,
Just
transferable limited warranty on the glass.
No, we're not talking about the glass, we're talking about that friction system. that holds the
Transferable
windows.
limited warranty on components other than glass. Doors and windows, balance system, hinges, and so on. Shall be free from defects in manufacturing materials and workmanship for a period of 10 years from the date of purchase. Non-glass portion of Anderson windows and doors with wood exteriors and commercial doors are subject to a limited warranty with 5-year period, but otherwise identical to the 10-year limited warranty, so 10 years.
For factory defect.
Huh?
For factory defect, 10-year warranty.
For workmanship.
But so that's not a guarantee of how long it'll be functional.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm not concerned about the functionality of them.
Well, I'm concerned about if it's vinyl and that's the only thing that's holding the window up, how long is it gonna last, you know? And then you gotta
How
look
long
that
before
out.
it looks like?
Do you see that
Before
foam
there's
right in there
warranty.
Yeah.
that presses and compresses?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what provides the compression against the window, the
Gotcha.
friction. It also lets you tilt that window in and clean it.
Yeah, we don't have good with foam last.
Well, cleaning's not under our purview, so.
We don't do,
Window.
we don't do windows.
It's a big window.
We
Yeah,
do
you-
windows.
We do
Clear
do
windows or
windows.
not.
Well, I mean, my concern is not about the material. My concern is about the loss of daylight.
This evidence.
Well,
And the
Actually,
change of
I
the,
have- I
and the
have less-
change of the overall appearance of the windows.
I have
The
less-
windows are the eyes of the home.
I have less concern about that loss of that 1 3/4 inch. And I do believe that this is a vinyl clad window as is specified in our design standards. However, you did point out those 4 windows that are wood windows that you got in there now, which are
There's the
presumably
design standards.
original or at least quite old. Yeah. I would like to see those 4 windows definitely saved. you know, and restored. And if we can do
Just the
some.
appearance would change, then, because we would have to add storm windows to those windows. I mean, this window that we have next to that storm window.
No, it wouldn't be
Like-
next to it, I mean, it's a distance away.
These windows
That's-
would be
it's huge.
replaced, so these windows would be.
Hey, no,
Um,
you got these and these,
It's not
you
like they're
know.
on each side of the house, where.
No, I mean, you got these and these, those 4 windows are the wood windows, right?
Right.
So the, you know, the other windows get replaced, and, you know, I mean, if you got, you know, if they all start with the same color, you know, and, you know, yeah, you might have to have, say, interior storms on those windows or something like that, but,
Can I make a suggestion as to those 4 windows? Would it be acceptable to have on those 4 windows a double pane replacement sash with the same width?
double pane.
In other words, a double pane glass.
Yeah, I know what
Basically
double
just
pane-
restoring
The
a
sash.
new wood window.
Trying to make this building energy efficient. I think there's
I
about
understand that. No, I got that.
$10,000 on
get a
the
lot
bill.
of
I got
this.
that point.
I-
Just replacing sashes as opposed to placing a whole insert? How exactly does that work?
You have these made up, you have the sashes copied in size with a double pane glass instead of single pane. These windows rattle in the wind.
No, I understand.
When somebody steps on the floor, they go.
Okay, so what sort of system keeps that from guillotining down in your head?
We have to have a set of balances made. I'd have to find, I know of a company in New Hampshire that will make the same sash in double glass. They cost an absolute fortune. And they make up a narrow sash that is not self-cleaning. They don't guarantee a lot of thermal efficiency. But in a purely, you know, in George Washington's house, where somebody's demanding the same window and the same jamb, that's what you can do. It's the only thing you can do.
Can I ask a question of the other board members? One of the things which we never really talked about is there are some window moves which
Yeah.
the applicants
Yeah.
proposed.
We talked about it briefly at our last meeting. Pull out those notes.
And I guess, how do people feel about that?
The window's being moved to accommodate a door dome.
Well, and let's start with the first
It
one,
just seems like-
A7.
Yeah.
You know, there, and existing windows coming out in two different locations.
That one bothers me because, not so much because an existing window is being closed up and 2 new windows are being inserted, but where the existing window was centered over the bay window on the first floor, these are asymmetrical to that bay window on the first floor. And I understand what's going on in the plan with a little closet here and stuff like that.
It's just that we needed a separation for our bed. We didn't want to have a bed directly against a window, because it's really.
No,
That's
no,
kind
no,
of the issue.
Linda pointed that out to me when I went through the house.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, because of this little closet, you know, if both of those windows were moved over just a tad to center them over the bay window below it, it wouldn't look quite so weird. Because right now, it just you know, these things tend to line up, second floor to first floor in most places, with the exception of this L in the back. You know, and it's kind of a McKeel thing.
Yeah.
That he does pretty consistently. He did.
One of the
pretty
things that-
consistently, and so that kind of bothers me.
We consider is the body of the neighborhood. So, like the McKeel Row is really significant in Cold Spring. Your house is the gem of the McKeel Row houses. I'm sorry if you think we're being nitpicky. It's just that this is the gem, and it's a significant part of our village. This was a very influential architect who made a big mark on our village and your house.
Even outside the village, I mean, you can.
Even outside, right,
he's got a few
but
underneath
within
and
our,
stuff like that,
yeah, but within our village, your house is literally the cornerstone of all of this. And I know, having been on the other side of this table, as an applicant, and in fact, I've been an applicant while I was on this board, and it was frustrating. And so I get that it's frustrating. Thank you for working with us. Thank you for your patience. I know this is annoying to listen to back and forth about windows and window placements, and you want to put your bed somewhere where it's not between, you know, where it's not like up against windows. And this is a really important house, and as an architect, I'm sure you appreciate that. This is our job, so we're discussing minutia. And I appreciate your patience. This is a really important house that you have.
No, we are trying to do the right thing. I mean,
I know you are. I know. And the fact that you're taking off
we're opening up
siding, that, believe me, and
you know, we're
we
exposing
have
a window
these,
that was found from the original
we
drawing.
have these conversations every month. It's a difficult discussion.
What if we took 2 narrow windows and balanced them over this to give you the width for a headboard and such?
If you move this window,
If you took the
scooted
narrower
it,
Just
Put
center
2
it on
narrower
the bed.
windows.
yeah, we're just trying to appreciate the intention
I think
of
it's-
balance.
Yeah, it's just so that
That-
it's sort of
that could be-
symmetrical with that bay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
okay
the
with
thing
that.
that's,
You know,
If that's
if-
gonna hold up a decision for the board.
sure, hey,
I
if
would
you wanna,
certainly-
we're just trying to respect the
No, I understand.
intention of, you know, this man's work.
We understand
That's easy.
that. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
just kind of.
Okay.
Well, the proposed window, how does it compare in width with all of the other existing windows?
Well,
The same size?
With all due respect, we have to iron out what kind of window we're gonna use first.
Okay.
And if we're gonna mix in some new construction windows with hopefully this insert package, I can get a window that looks just like this.
I know, but that wasn't the question I was asking. In other words, just visually, it's kind of hard to tell. Is this window, the width of this window to match the width of this window?
I think we were actually gonna move the same frame. We were gonna take the frame out.
I'm not, let's assume that whatever is approved as far as replacement windows and so on, that the new window, because that's all new, you're not starting with an existing rough opening. You're gonna create an opening here. And that'll be, I'm asking the question, is this the same width as that?
We just, on this
Is
plan
that the
we're
plan?
looking at, yes, that's the
Okay.
plan. But we just talked about making a narrower window,
In
balancing it on
in
the.
which case, whatever the width, okay, and what you're now talking about to address Carolyn's concern is making this narrower so that it can appear more centered over the big window.
Balance it in the back.
Right, so you bring this edge in, this edge goes that,
Yep.
both of them get narrower in that direction.
One of the challenges of this house is just looking at it, it's a window showcase. I mean, there's so many
30.
different windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do you think that'll work, Carolyn? I mean, is that?
That does
I
it
would
for
like
me.
to see that, and
That does it for me.
I think we
The
need
other-
to
The other
keep moving
question I
along.
have, it sounds kind of stupid, I presume that these are the windows in the dining room on the first floor, the 2 E's, and the window in the master bathroom on the second floor, the 2 D's. On the pictures, they line up vertically, and I'm just wondering if this is simply drawn wrong. Because they don't seem to, because the other things fall in the right place. And they, I don't know, it just could be a matter of the printing, does it, you know?
No,
No,
you're right.
it-
I think
they
it's
seem to-
honestly just the lineup of the stapling.
No, it's not the line
No,
with
it's
the
not.
staple.
No?
I think they're just drawn in the wrong spot.
Can I
Yeah,
Unless
ask you a
your
question
something's
that
drawn wrong.
intention is not for them to line
asking,
up.
I think,
Oh, okay, no, I see what you're saying.
any new opening, any new window that we were gonna
On
create,
this?
we would copy a frame.
These four would stay.
Yeah, the
fine.
E-level.
Outside stop, the same trim on the outside, and then have.
Same casing.
Line up these two
Exactly.
pages.
So that they would look
Yeah, I think
identical
originally we
to all
were
of the
gonna
other windows.
shift them over
Look
to
as
center
if
them
it
on
was
the
always
side.
there.
Right.
See, this is the exact existing location out here.
Okay, I see.
Once
Oh,
we
I
shift it to the
see.
left, just to center them until we can keep them there. I can work it, just leaving them so they both line up. This is one time.
Oh, this is the second floor.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I see what you're saying.
See,
Okay.
those are-
Yeah. Doesn't line up.
Those are there and those are there.
Right, that's, yeah, that's
They're
what I
not
was
to right.
trying.
And also you have safety glass specified there, so I don't know how that, is that simply,
It does say safety glass.
It would just have to be a tempered glass because it's near about.
you know, I understand that, but will you have, a fogged glass or a textured glass because it's,
It would be clear, but we've got curtains on the inside.
we asked that question.
Okay, the next question I have is on the window on A9 where you're adding in another window
It's on the back,
in the back.
rear facade there.
If everybody can look at the photograph and see.
Mm-hmm.
Can you really fit another window in there?
The electric service is being changed out.
I know, but you've got that, you know, the molding from the porch which comes around there.
Yeah, and that half column on the porch.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like as it's drawn, these two windows that are ganged up together, the left side of it is going to be moving over so that it's below the window above, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Well, but it's kind of hard to tell from the photograph that that is not the case already, because it's the perspective
Let's go to
of
the
the
plan.
photograph.
Well, I don't think I agree with that. I don't think that from this photograph, these two windows currently line up.
They don't.
Yeah.
They will be, all three will be.
So as
But-
drawn, it'll be three windows. I don't know if they're going to be milled together or not, but they'll have visual separation between them, and the whole bank of three is going to move over to line up with this top window.
Right.
That's not as it's drawn. I mean, as it's drawn, the two windows are existing windows, remove and replace.
Yes. So it is actually new locations as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the two existing windows, that you move over slightly.
Which, yeah. So I mean, but if they're going to be all milled together anyway, there's not going to be any issue with the siding or anything because there's not. It's just going to be a bigger hole of one unit going.
I know, I'm just wondering as far as
The balance.
no, not the balance, just fitting that window in there. I mean, just looking at it, you've got that molding, the edge of the fascia of the porch. You've got the pilaster, which goes there. The electric service can be moved, I agree. I just can't see how it's going to fit in there.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Structurally, it fits. These windows are not molded together at the factory. They're separate. Each one will be a separate frame, and it'll be a single separate.
I know. I mean,
frame.
my concern is that looking at this, how wide that is, fitting that into here.
The two windows that are there now
Yeah.
move to accommodate the
Okay. Well,
third
that's
frame.
all right. Well, that's not indicated. That's the.
Am I right on that?
Mm-hmm.
If that is the case, are these locations that are shown in the elevation the proposed locations?
Yes. Yes, it's because this is lining up with the window above.
Okay, so right now the existing window does.
Right.
Okay, so then, we need to change this to indicate that these windows are being moved. The one which I don't have a question on, and I have no problem, is the door to the window. Well, I don't think we can even see that. So
No, I
not
think
even
it's
raised.
barely visible.
No.
Um, I had to ask one question about the plan. It's a vestibule to nowhere.
What
Because
do you
you're
mean?
adding this wall here to create
That
a powder room.
will be eventually opened up as a porch, the way it originally was.
Oh, okay, it'll
So that's just-
eventually be opened up.
Yeah, this is phase one we're talking about here. Phase two, I'll come back and we're gonna actually renovate the porches, and this will be all opened up and nice
Yeah.
L-shaped porch
Gotcha,
together.
gotcha. Vestibule to nowhere.
And
I thought there was a
good
little,
storage.
I thought there was like a little hatch that you jumped through when you got to the house.
Oh, that little hatch there.
This is
I have
the
one of
storage
those.
for now.
It's Dr. Hall's waiting room.
Oh, I know what it was.
People will be waiting.
And they'll be waiting and waiting.
Al, are you inclined to vote on this today, or is there more
Well,
information
you know,
that you
I'll
want to
leave
see?
it up to, I'll leave it up to the board members. I have concerns, and it depends on whether, you know, we can take each one of these things individually. We can talk about the window unit replacement, as one, and then we can go and, you know, each window change, you know, we can take a vote on that, so that at least what, you know, there can be consensus on, we can, you know, give an approval. I guess.
Okay, but as far as the changes are concerned, we're going to vote on them as we've discussed now and mark it up, and then do you want to see a drawing with measurements on it, or?
Well, you know, I would like to see drawings which reflect what is actually being proposed.
I think there are many sizes of windows here. I'd like to see more of a window schedule that reflects, you know, the individual windows. But on our agenda, we have 4 items: restoration of siding, window replacement, installation of AC condenser, and installation of fence. I think we did the siding, the AC condenser, and the fence the
Right.
Last time.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so those are done.
We
Yep.
did, those are done.
Okay, so the
Well,
We're
only,
only talking about
the siding was never there. I mean, it was the roof. It was the roof, yeah, because I have it here.
I don't think we
Right,
discussed
the roof was approved.
The roof was
The roof
approved,
was
and,
approved.
and the enclosure of the condenser was approved.
The
You withdrew the
was
fence,
withdrawn.
and the windows was the one that was left hanging.
Right.
okay, so the only thing we've got pending still is the windows.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, I wish there were another option in these windows. I'm quite
Should I
frustrated.
ask a question?
Yeah.
And this is probably unorthodox. Give us some guidance.
Well,
Tell me what you would like to say.
Did you ever approve a Anderson Farm window in a historical district?
The problem is you're in the national district.
Yeah.
Did you ever approve that in the national district?
well, I don't know about this specific model. We have approved clad windows, and at least in the catalog cuts that we had, there was a little bit more specific, or the details showed more that all of the components were wood.
Which manufacturer did this?
Well, I'd have
I like
to
to make a
go-
comparison, like,
Well, I
I have
mean,
Marvin sitting here, Appella sitting here, and
I think, you know, my recommendation as far as the type of replacement window is that, you know, just to give you the benefit of the doubt, I'd like to take a look at catalog cuts from, I would do the research on types of replacement windows, and that's what I would take a look at. I think that, again, we're dealing with a very visible, notable component of the historic district, and we're dealing with a very important character defining feature. So I would rather be careful about it and you know, and actually explore what other opportunities we have in order to we understand you want a double hung window, or than a double hung window that's double glazed. So, you know, I think that's what we're looking to find. That's what I would like to do.
To answer your question about specific brands or recommendations, unfortunately, one problem we have is that we cannot endorse specific
Of
brands.
course. But I'd like to know what was approved.
We would love.
What maker was it that the Paulding House?
56 Fulton?
LePage, was it LePage?
Was it LePage?
LePage in Canada.
Yeah, did they, that was a very interesting,
Those are, yeah.
But those were full replacement windows, those were
Yeah.
inserted windows.
Here's what we're up against. It's almost August. A couple of days it's August. These
Yeah.
are 6 weeks lead time.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the end of September, putting in windows. If I wait another month to make a presentation to you guys again, now I'm looking at Halloween. If that doesn't fly, I'm looking at Christmas.
It won't be another month,
I
it'll be
understand your
2 weeks.
frustration.
It's not frustration, it's
This-
simply a calendar year.
This board, we've actually, so in the past, we've met once a month. We are meeting and workshopping with people a lot now. And, I mean, we're volunteers. We've been working overtime. So it's not for lack of trying on our part. So please understand that.
Oh, I do. I'm looking at
And
a
obviously,
calendar.
springtime and summer, this is an extremely busy time of year for us. We're already behind on this agenda.
The
Do
next
you-
meeting would be on the 9th.
Right.
So in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Would a
2
full
weeks.
window, a wood window, have more appeal to you?
Yeah. It would.
Even if it were
Just on this-
an insert?
I certainly would consider it a lot more quickly than that.
And would that cover your concern, Carolyn, with the existing wood windows?
yeah.
So that we wouldn't have to do 2 types of windows?
We're
'Cause
trying to
that's a
keep the
concern of mine. I don't
efficiency
want-
is one of the
Well,
most
no, I
important
understand,
aspects of this.
no, I understand the efficiency and keeping the same type of window, the same model of window throughout the building, and keeping the, you know, the energy efficiency and stuff like that. Yes, an all-wood window would be much more appealing.
Mhm, mhm.
How do you feel about painting windows?
Terrible.
Why don't let me propose this as far as the window replacement. Our next meeting is the 9th.
Yep.
August 9th.
That's, is that 2 weeks away? That's,
Yeah, it's
2 weeks away.
Yep.
Let me do research and basically, if I can find alternatives which would, at least to me, would be more appealing, we can present it and we can resolve this issue.
Keeping cost in mind, I hope. That's 30 windows, 3 feet wide,
yeah.
6 feet tall. We have to.
I understand, and the thing is
I'll
that.
stand up, I'm 6 foot, that's how big these windows are.
Right.
As big as me. I'm
Well,
a big girl.
but you see, ultimately, that's the issue. I mean, you know, these windows are an important feature of the house, and it's something that we have to look at carefully. I mean, it's a character-defining feature.
He spared no expense with his windows, unfortunately.
So, let me first ask the board members, any,
I'm more concerned about it being an insertion window than it being final cut. I will look at whatever you bring.
okay.
The change in dimension doesn't bother me. The presentation of so much vinyl on the exterior. I find that problematic because I think that the intention of the original architect is very different. And this is an important house.
Let me ask this question.
I'd like to, yeah, I'd
It's
like
a-
to see some
this is a-
alternatives also.
This house
Cornerstone of-
was very progressive when it was built. I've been into a zillion old houses. This one was built beautifully. It was done very nicely.
Right, exactly.
Everything they did was top shelf. They
Sure.
brought stone up to just below grade
Right.
and then brick the rest of the way. The
Yeah.
best of the best in this house.
Well, oh yeah, we're aware.
If this man were alive today, would he put this window in or a wood window?
He wouldn't put that window in.
Do you think he would put a wood window in there?
Yes. But I don't wanna do this to our neighbors, you know, so we deal with this kind of balance all the time, where, you know, we have to consider what's reasonable and we deal with new materials all the time too. This was not available when that man was alive.
Right.
So we have to be realistic, and that's something that this board discusses a lot. In fact, we're in the process right now of updating these design guidelines. There's a lot of materials that have been produced in the since this was last written, which, you know, what was?
1999.
Yeah.
It's an issue that we struggle with all the time.
All the time.
And ultimately, there's no easy answer on any of this. And we look at each instance on its own merits, so. This happens to be a very special house. We're trying to do right by the house.
And we can't be inconsistent, because every time we sit down and have these discussions,
But every house is
We're-
special. You can't just say this house is special.
well,
Some are more special than others.
some are.
Yeah.
Some are,
No,
and yours
no,
is,
there-
and,
We
there
love
are-
all our children, but, you know.
you know,
They're
this
all-
child is a little
So if you use this.
smarter than the rest.
So if this was approved for a non-special house, but you would want to still.
Well, you're actually in a particular area. You're in the National District.
Right.
Being on Main Street is really difficult. And we have all kinds of houses on Main Street.
Right.
And your house is a very nice example. We also have houses that are more vernacular examples.
Can I request that what windows were used in the national district?
It's all here. It's in this manual. And surely you're familiar with
If you're
this.
looking for a manufacturer, we can't do that.
We can't.
Well, in the past approved windows that you through the board here.
What we,
Okay.
I'd like to see that list.
We-
like this.
Well,
What was that
there is
building
no
you
list.
mentioned before?
Someone would have to create it. And as
The
it is
building
right
on
now, we're
Folding
dealing
Avenue?
with
Yes.
board
Yeah, the
business
one
that I don't think
page
anybody
one.
has time
Yeah, it's
to go back and go
56
through
Folding.
the files.
56
If you'd like to do
Folding.
that,
With a D.
you know,
The work hasn't been done
the
Yeah,
files
you
are
can
public
DIY.
record, so
But they're
we can do
page.
that.
Canadian,
Oh.
French Canadian, LePage, okay.
All right,
The palm.
question. Now, we talked about these two windows, and the applicant proposed reducing the size so that they can be more centered on that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Anybody have a problem?
Well, actually, I thought moving them over too. I wasn't talking about
Well,
changing the size.
okay, I'll leave it up to,
Mhm.
you're doing the drawings, you can take a look at it, but
Sure.
I think that
Mhm.
the whole idea is do something like this.
Make them narrower. so
Make
that
them
they-
narrower so that.
Equal on effect.
Right.
Mhm.
that was, yeah, I think that was the original intention. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and if it means maybe moving it over, so you'll revise that.
Mhm.
Can I share some good news with this board?
Yes, please.
We found 7 of the original porch columns wrapped in plastic under a bush behind the house.
Yay.
Wow.
Wrapped in plastic under
They
a
are
bush.
now in the garage, out of the sun, drying very carefully, being rotated every couple of days, so we can.
Thank you.
use them.
Just put them in the microwave, they'll be fine.
When were they removed?
They were
Right now,
removed from the
right
front
now
porch.
there's,
The
No,
front-
but how long ago?
People don't wanna deal with it.
So
They
how
don't-
long
They probably
have they
didn't
been
wanna
in
paint
plastic
it or
in the
something.
back?
That's the
Like-
weirdest
Let's
thing,
just
is
say
that
that
somebody
these
was
were good
kept
solid
them.
cedar posts, because they're
they're
pretty
Not
well
underneath,
preserved.
they're not moldy or anything?
Oh, they're stinky, they're terrible, but they're good
So they're
enough for me to
salvageable.
restore.
They're there, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about A9. Obviously, in order for this to fit in, is that this whole assembly is gonna move in this direction. Anybody
Yeah.
have any objection to that?
No, no.
No.
Okay, so what I'd like to see is
A line.
these are gonna be existing windows relocated.
So you said that those are gonna be 3 separate windows with studs in between. Can that proportion also be replicated? Oh God, where am I? On the office windows?
So many windows.
So I thought that these were the ones that were gonna be mulled together. It's actually these 3, this mulled together triple. Can this separation dimension stay the same?
The window
on
you're
this?
pointing to with your left hand is a 1975 Rays Ranch picture double hung combination. It's nothing fancy. It's
Oh, yeah,
just-
the window that's there now is crap.
That was the
Right,
dimension.
but this is being replaced, right?
Just
But
in
it is.
kind, because it's, the one that's there was rotten.
Crap.
That thing.
No, not that one.
No?
Here.
So
Which one?
what are you
No, it's
replacing?
that
Oh,
So
one.
you're-
that, no, yeah.
So you're not replacing it
It's
with
an
a
architectural
double
term,
hung?
crap.
Dog.
No, it's just gonna be, just exactly what's there is gonna be put back.
Those curtain monostones.
It's this window?
Yep.
Yeah, that thing.
That's historically accurate for 1975.
Oh, because it's not drawn, I mean, this is drawn as 3 equal windows here.
Yeah, so we thought you were gonna.
I thought you were gonna replace it with
those.
3 equal sized double hung windows. You're gonna replace it with,
That?
so what's being, okay, could you just
We'll
draw that? Okay.
Clarify.
If it ends up being 3 double hung windows, can the separation be the same size as this? That's my question.
I'll consider that.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna revisit
We like
this.
when, even if they're delivered in one unit, for it to at least look like they were separate windows. And
Okay.
have, you know.
So,
Not that.
how about, does anybody have any problems with these 2 changes?
No.
They're under the porch, I
There's
think.
no portion, I-
How visible is that from the?
I actually don't know even if that's visible from the right of way
It's,
on that facade.
It's with the stockade fence, it's blocking.
yeah, no, it's, no, I don't.
Which is not going anywhere.
No, it stayed right there.
Okay.
That's not problematic to me.
That's because your neighbor recused herself.
Yeah. Okay, because I have to agree, I think this is not gonna be visible, so.
Yeah, I have no problem.
I have
It's in
no
the
problem.
shadows we are on.
Okay, so the window moves aside from the one here, which you're gonna take a look at. Nobody has any objections to it
No.
as part of the change, all right?
No.
So the only thing is that on the 9th, and we'll put you on the agenda, I'll go and do research on alternatives as far as retrofit wood windows. Okay? All right?
But insert.
Inserts.
If you want to communicate earlier, if you find something tomorrow, let him know. I'll get a copy of this and, be prepared.
Okay. Does Kathleen have your email? Okay. I probably won't find it tomorrow because I've got a whole list of things to take care of. Okay. To be continued on August 9th, right?
Are you agreeing on locations, you're approving that, voting for the locations?
Well, you're correct, we should vote on it. Okay, so, this is a vote on the window relocations as indicated, as modified. And the drawings are going to be modified and submitted on the 9th. Do I have a motion to approve the window relocations?
I would prefer to vote on that on the 9th.
Can we just vote and see the drawing of the
I'd like
master
to see the
bedroom windows?
revised, I'd like to see the revised drawing.
I mean, we'd have to approve the drawing anyway, so why don't we just vote when
Okay.
Vote all at
You
once.
raise a good point.
it.
On the 9th. We'll vote on that on the 9th. Let me, just to give the applicant a little bit more security. Does anybody have any objections to what we were talking about? You know, just so that.
In concept, I have no objections to it, but I just want to see what it actually looks like, you know, what it ends up being.
Okay.
And also, if you start drawing it and realize that it's going to be totally impossible for it to make any sense, then we'll want to see whatever alternative you want.
Yep.
Great.
Okay.
See you in a couple
Thank
weeks.
you. Let me have, you know, keep one for the files. No. No, I don't need 3. I'll need 1 to take with me to the office.
So you don't want that.
You want to take the
Is-
model with you to the office?
Would you like the photographs?
What is today's date? Okay, thank you very much.
26.
Thank you.
Thank you.
25th, 26th.
Would you like these copies?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
No, this one just shows the
Roll,
1970s.
you can roll them up and
jam.
use them as fire.
We need those.
Tender, you know.
Okay.
They're not fire. You've got a couple of fireplaces. Oh, they're not. We're
Not functional.
Yeah.
Classic. Alright,
It's
want this?
not that, okay, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Is today the 26th?
It's the 26th. Yep. Do you want
They already
the?
all in.
Oh, it's another school. That's in a lot